Hey guys, you just heard a part of the Star Trek theme song, and that's because for today's movie review, I'm going to be talking about Star Trek Beyond. This is the third installment in the J.J. Abrams rebooted films of the Star Trek film franchise. So, in this third installment, you guys, Captain Kirk and his crew are in deep space. And by the way, this film is directed by Justin Lin, who worked on Fast 5 and Fast and Furious 6 for the Fast and Furious franchise, so he's very well known for his action scenes. But anyway, in this third installment, Captain Kirk and his crew are in deep space, and they get attacked by this alien ship that wants an artifact that's on board the Enterprise that they want really badly. Kind of their mission as this team of this alien ship. They can only succeed with that artifact on their ship. So they attack the Enterprise. The Enterprise gets, destroyed basically and lands on a lost planet. Once again, this is a non-spoiler review, so trying to make it as broad as I can, I guess, to make it as spoiler-free as I can. They get lost on this planet. They're also stuck on this planet with this alien crew that also went down with them in the process. And so Captain Kirk and his team have to outlive them on this planet. They have to figure out how to get off of this planet and get help and basically hopefully build a new Enterprise ship since their current one was destroyed. And they have to make sure that that artifact gets in the right hands, because if the alien ship gets it full of those alien creatures, one of them is his name is Krall, played by Idris Elba. It will not be good news for the universe. So for this third installment, you guys, I really liked this film a lot. I really liked that it was fun and engaging and entertaining. Just a very fun sequel for the Star Trek franchise that J.J. Abrams started, many years ago. And now we're already on to a third installment in this rebooted version of Star Trek. So for my positives and negatives of this film, you guys, I think it's a very fun and entertaining film. I never really felt bored with this movie. I really did feel engaged with what was going on throughout the entire runtime. It's just a very well-made Star Trek film. I also thought the cast was very good in this film. I thought Karl Urban really nailed it in this movie. Just a lot of fun. His humorous moments really hit a lot. Just a lot of fun to watch this movie. You can tell this guy was having a blast while they were filming this movie. I also like the scenes that involve the Lost Planet in this film. It's just a lot of fun. I can definitely tell that Kirk and his team are in a lot of danger the entire time. It just feels very tense. It feels very... there's a lot of moments where you almost kind of question, how can they really survive this? There's just a lot of moments where you really don't know what's going to happen to Kirk and his team while they're on this planet with these people that basically want them dead over this artifact. I also like the nods and mentions of the original Star Trek cast. Without spoiling really anything, I will say that this film does acknowledge those William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy adventures of Star Trek. So for those who saw the previous two J.J. Abrams Star Trek films, this won't come as a surprise since Leonard Nimoy does have a cameo in those two films. But this film definitely reassures us that those films still exist, that what we're looking at is something that's even way further into the future from those earlier stories all the way back from the 60s for Star Trek. So whether or not the Patrick Stewart one, the Next Generation one, existed, I'm sure it does, is on the timeline somewhere. But I like how this film does acknowledge that, that Star Trek was its own thing. It's still around, but it's not what this is. Next Generation happened. That's not what this is, but it was around in some way, shape, or form. And we're currently focusing on this one that is in hot pursuit of this storyline here. I also thought Justin Lin, like I said, who worked on some of the Fast and Furious films, he directed this one. J.J. Abrams was busy with Star Wars Episode 7, so he wasn't able to come back for this Star Trek movie. I thought Justin Lin, who worked on this Star Trek installment, did very well with the action sequences. They're just very well staged. You can tell what's going on. It's not... maybe there's a few little slight moments of shaky cam, but he definitely limits it to make sure that he really doesn't really need to use it, and he didn't. He really did make everything wide and clear as to what's going on in the action scenes. They're very well filmed. They're a lot of fun to watch. Just like what he brought to the Fast and Furious franchise, where you can tell what's going on. You can actually see the action happening. It's not just shaky cam. It's not just an arm going across the screen, another arm going across the screen. You can actually see what's going on. So I like how Justin Lin brought those action scene talents from the Fast and Furious franchise into Star Trek, and it worked very well in this movie. And similar to Star Trek Into Darkness, which I also liked a lot, this one has a ton of character development as well. I really do feel like the characters grow throughout the movie, once again, just like how they did it Into Darkness, the previous Star Trek film. So I'm a huge fan of character development. I'm loving that they're continuing doing that with this Star Trek installment. Once again, a lot of fun to watch. Sofia Boutella from Kingsman: The Secret Service has a role in this film. She plays like this alien lady that helps Kirk and his team on this planet while they're trying to fight off Krall, the Idris Elba alien guy, and his team. So she's one of the good guys, and like I said, she helps out Kirk and Spock and all of them, and just a lot of fun. And she kicked a lot of butt in Kingsman: The Secret Service. She does it here again in Star Trek and Beyond. A lot of fun. I can definitely tell she has a big future ahead of her as far as being an action star goes, because she's very good at action scenes. Very attractive lady too, I think. So Sofia Boutella, very good performance from you again. Hope you continue that trend, because Kingsman: The Secret Service was great and Star Trek Beyond was great. So let's hope that that trend continues later into her career as well. For my negatives of Star Trek Beyond, it's not quite as the same level as Star Trek Into Darkness. I thought Into Darkness, was just a very powerful film. It had a powerful villain, a powerful story, powerful character development. It definitely has an impact here in this movie, but it just doesn't have that same impact that Into Darkness had. So maybe that's just because, I don't know, maybe J.J. Abrams is a little more experienced with these kind of films over Justin Lin, but there's just something here that just didn't quite have that same quality that Into Darkness brought into the table. So still a great film, but like I said, I think it is just a slight drop in quality from that previous Star Trek film. I also thought the villain that Idris Elba played in the film, that his name was Krall, I think it was, just not a very interesting villain. Just your typical wanting to take over the universe kind of alien villain that almost every Star Trek episode I'm sure had back in the day. Just not a very interesting villain. Benedict Cumberbatch really nailed it as Khan in the last Star Trek film. Just a really interesting three-dimensional villain that had interesting motivations. This villain just really didn't. He just was kind of your typical wanting to take over the universe, needs to find an artifact to do that, and tries to take over the universe again kind of character, and just not very interesting to me. Another negative I had of this movie was they try to use modern day songs in the movie, and because this is a film that takes place in the future, these characters kind of view that as classical music, kind of like how we would view like Beethoven music or something like that. That really feels out of place here. I really don't think it works for a Star Trek film. It works great for a Fast and Furious film. I think that's why Justin Lin did it, because in Fast and Furious he could get away with it. This film, it just really fell out of place, and I really don't need those modern day songs in here. It just kind of ruins some of the beautiful action scene that happened whenever this film goes into modern day song mode. I also thought the third act of this film was very uneven. It feels like 4 or 5 different films going on at once. Just a very uneven tone for a third act of a movie. Didn't care how they handled that. Another negative I have with this film is, even though Simon Pegg and I think Doug Jung was his co-writer in this for writing the movie, I thought because Simon Pegg was also involved in the writing of this movie, and obviously he plays Scotty in all these new Star Trek films. I thought because I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's just because he was writing it and had a lot of fun things to say about his character. But to me, I felt like there was a little too much screen time with Simon Pegg. There was almost as much screen time with him as like Kirk or Spock or any of the major characters. And I don't know if that works for Star Trek. I think I like Scotty as a supporting character. I like, that they're continuing to develop his character. But this film, maybe it's just because Pegg was writing the script and really wanted to put Scotty in there as much as he could. I don't know what happened, but to me it felt like a little too much screen time from Simon Pegg. Like, once again, love the character, love how this character is continuing to grow in these films. His comedic timing worked in the movie and everything. Just, I don't know, something about his screen time kind of bothered me here. It felt like a little too much for that kind of character. But overall, I'm going to give Star Trek Beyond a 9 out of 10. I really do think it's worth checking out. If you like Star Trek Into Darkness, or even if you liked the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek film, I think you'll have a lot of fun with this film. It's just a lot of fun, very entertaining, very engaging, a great cast, great acting. Those Lost Planet scenes are great. Justin Lin was a great choice for directing these action scenes in the movie. Great character development. Great to see Sofia Boutella do another great film role again. But the villain was just kind of weak in this movie. I don't like the use of modern day songs. The tone was very uneven in the third act. And Simon Pegg, I thought, had a little too much more screen time for his own good. But overall, 9 out of 10. A very fun movie to watch.